So as you can see, I've removed the original fuel pickup and sending unit. This is a new one I bought from Quadratrack, but I wasn't able to get all of the fuel out of the tank. And also I'm converting this one now to install an in-tank EFI fuel pump, a Walbro fuel pump. So I'll show you what I do to be able to get this done. The next thing I do is I position where the insulator underneath from an older unit for my pump positive. I drill a 15/16 hole and insert the insulator at the bottom, leaving the fuel sending unit terminal in place. And my pump positive is going to be now connected to that, followed by removing this pickup tube and leaving an inch in place, allowing enough to attach a 5/16 fuel hose. To remove the old tube, I use a small tubing cutter and cut the tube off and then deburr it on the inside. After you cut it, this is what it's going to look like. This is the fuel pump I'll be using from a modern General Motors Corvette and Camaro in-tank fuel pump. It is a Walbro GSS 340, and it flows the exact same flow rate at 62 psi fuel pressure of a gallon a minute, which is equivalent to what the Holley fuel pump worked through the Holley Sniper EFI fuel body throttle, fuel pressure regulator. Then I use a 3 3/8 inch length -6 5/16 fuel hose to connect the fuel pump to the output of the sending. When I flip over to the top, you can see the pump positive, the pink for the fuel gauge sending unit sensor, and then the ground wire. I used the heavy duty wire, obviously, for the pump now, and I drilled and used a self-tapping screw onto the ground wire. So a push-on spade connector, I didn't feel like it might not last, so this is a good way of securing a really good ground. So putting it into the tank, I'm putting the sending unit in there first, and then fit the pump screen in place, and there it is. One EFI fuel pump in the original 15-gallon CJ7 tank with an in-tank GM fuel pump. Here we have our completed project. I will test it. I'll test it under pressure before I put the tank back up, just to make sure everything is good, and hopefully we're no more problems with external fuel pump. What I'm doing is I'm pumping 5 gallons of fuel into the tank, and then once that's in there, then I'm going to turn on the in-tank fuel pump, and I have connected it to my inlet where it would go below the filter so I can see what the fuel pressure is. And then the return line, I'm going to pump it out into an empty 5-gallon container and see how much fuel I get out of it from the 5 that I put in. Now we're pumping the fuel out of the tank and through some temporary connections, going to the fuel pressure gauge and the line that connects to the throttle body. So you can see we're about 61, 62 psi, which it was before. And then coming out of the throttle body regulator and down into an empty can. So I put 3 gallons in, I didn't need to put 5. So we're going to see how much we get out. Well, as you can see, we're almost 3 gallons and it's still flowing really well.